Sodden Sanctuary has a lot of different weapon types. Probably the most overlooked of those options is the spear, a long stick with something pointy at the end. Most often, the advantages are good length with fast attacks. But what if I were to tell you that the spear design in this game in particular is completely busted? How, you might ask? Well, let's find out together. This is the spear-only run in Sodden Sanctuary. Our name for today is Pointer because we're using the pointy end of a stick. Kinda self-explanatory on that one. Popper is the optimal class because you could start with the very first spear option, Grasping Ring, since we don't need much else, and it's off to the races. Now we could all sit here for the next 10 minutes and watch me poke the Unspeakable Deep to death. Instead, why don't I just tell you that I won, and let's start off with some nice upgrades. 8 whole damage per poke ain't the quickest fight, let me tell you. We want to join the Goddess of Light, or Devara Creed, as holy pages are an important item we want to always have quick access to. For the skill tree, I'm already able to build up towards class 3 spears, granting me loads more dex and an extra heal, of course. Bandaged ring is the best upgrade we can grab right now, so we can't forget that. And while we could definitely fight the Sodden Knight right now, let's skip past him for just a few seconds. Down below near the Nomad Merchant is already a new spear. The Soldier's Spear can be found on some wooden platforms. Not much of an upgrade, but does have double the base damage of our pitchfork. And now back up to the Sodden Knight. So far, we're not really seeing anything that spectacular. Speed and range are definitely advantages, making it very easy to combat a boss. But the damage isn't anything to write home about. Stamina management is surprisingly efficient. So aside from sloppy gameplay, this went off without a hitch. Spears do have the same normal into heavy combo that halberds do, but I mean, that attack is incredibly weak. No, we would soon find the attack that would make this run stand out. For now, the fused metal ring can help with weight since I don't have much else, and everybody really wanted me to wear the pumpkin head, so can't forget that while I'm here. For those who don't know, wearing this helmet gives you the same effect as the bandaged ring, so you can free up that slot and wear something else entirely. We are able to upgrade the spear to level 2 with locks of hair, and before the next boss, we're sure to grab the wrapped link that you really can't run without. And there are 3 blessed pages right here behind a trap. At the start of this fight, everything seemed relatively normal. You very quickly poke here and there when you have an opening. Dodge behind the Mad Lady to avoid attacks, and holy damage really shreds her. But something very small caught my attention near the end. I decided to use the heavy attack function a few times to finish her off. And to my surprise, it did double the damage of normal attacks, instantly taking the creepy queen down. Okay, I'm not really sure what just happened there, but I will have to try that again. After grabbing the increased damage charm, I found myself in front of the pale charm. Do I want more damage or do I want more attack reach? Okay, attack reach is too strong, we almost have to go with that option. Being a sucker for extra stamina, I couldn't turn down the bright coral ring placed here in these woods. Now in front of the Mad Alchemist, we finally get to see what the true power of a spear really is. The heavy attack hits 2 times. For low-ish stamina cost and really spammable pokes, you get 2 hits of damage every time you press the button. Which, aside from the guy really trying to catch me here, this allowed me to obliterate him with holy damage. You know what? I think there might be a way for us to maximize the potential here. By the way, if you ever manage to get your hands on some war horns, they basically grant unlimited stamina for a time. I had never really messed with them before, but man, the regeneration is out of this world. I was really blown away. Kraken Cyclops is the next victim in our path, and unfortunately for him, I have already mastered my new weapon. Others out there may be comboing strings of attacks together, maybe holding down the heavy for the opportune moment, or you could throw yourself into the air to dodge and damage at the same time. What am I doing? Just pressing the Y button on my controller as often as I can. A flawless victory as expected. I know this is early in the run, but I already gotta say it. Spears, they're completely busted. They just are. For now, we really want most of our points in stamina and dexterity. Stamina because that stuff is gold in this game, even more gold than the actual gold you pick up. And dexterity because all spears scale mainly in dex. At the False Jester, I found out some more about this heavy thrust attack that you definitely need to know before going in. The double attack is only going to hit if you're close to the enemy. This long forward animation moves you to the enemy, but if you're using it for the movement specifically, you only get 1 damage hit. Instead, stick to the boss like glue, and now you do double damage. This makes it tricky as you will need to know exactly when to dodge. No long-range cheesing for this combat style. Jester being the speedy boy that he is, there was no way I could completely avoid damage. No matter, he goes down in the end like all the others. Now with the Vertigo brand, we can make our way back up to the surface. There we can upgrade the spear to level 3 and buy what is scientifically known as a buttload of blessed pages. Before entering the Castle of Storms, be sure to vertigo up onto the ledge here for 3 lightning shock stones. Our good friend the Kraken Wyrm is deathly allergic to the stuff, and anything that keeps him from flying around is fair game. Oh, come on, is this really how we're going to be doing this today? So yeah, this would be a great time to show off the spear's capabilities on a larger foe. However, the scaly fellow would not keep his feet on the ground. Every single time he landed back down for me to strike, he instantly flew back up out of my reach. It's times like these I really wish I had a gun on hand. Well, I can't say that was particularly hard in any way. Too bad it also had no watchable value for the viewers. A win is a win at the end of the day. Just after grabbing the wall jump brand, we can head back up and immediately use it to collect the Impin's Charm. This adds fire damage to your melee attacks, letting us buff with holy papers and burn at the same time. Pretty darn handy since fire tends to perform well on most bosses. I decided the dome would be our next stopping place, as a new weapon will soon show itself if we head this direction. One thing of note is this chest here containing a blue, more merchant looking armor set. I highly recommend it for this run as the fashion perfectly matches our future weapon. I, however, ended up running naked most of the time, because, well, do I really need a reason to be naked? Our new charm comes in handy right away, as the Untouched Inquisitor is very resistant to holy. Also, him flying up in the air, we finally find the one weakness of this spear weapon type. It has no good vertical attack whatsoever. You have the amazing horizontal pokes that tend to trivialize most encounters. However, for opponents in the air, all we can do is jump thrust, essentially on repeat. Whereas you have swords, hammers, and axes that swing in an arc for low effort hits. That shouldn't matter too much for most of the game, but it's definitely something to keep in the back of your mind. As usual, the third lamb is up next, and for a boss I usually fear, I was in for a wondrous sight. Fire Charm plus a spear is the chef's kiss for this monstrous creature. I have absolutely no words to say other than if you struggle with this boss, here you go. The larger target makes it brain dead easy to double hit on every attack. Any lightning cast gives you several seconds to stab away, while his HP is already under half. I genuinely find this boss to be one of the hardest in the game. For when you fight him, how dangerous his attacks can be, and since lightning is hard to survive through, well, no longer. Scratch him off as an easy target now, because this was just a disgusting display of power by me. This, of course, grants us access to the Hardlight brand soon after, allowing me to build up to 30 dex and 24 willpower. Now inside the Ziggurat, I was sure to pick up the Stagger Charm. Dry King, being the fiery skeleton that he is, makes the fire damage charm as close to useless as you can get. Because we are maining blessed pages, man, this skelly fellow is going down in no time. I was a little surprised to find our Stagger not nearly as powerful as I expected. With 2 attacks at a time and the Stagger Charm, it still took about 6 hits or so. Two-handed swords could do that in just 2 swings. But then again, my speed right now is unmatched. Playing a little fast and loose had me chugging down all my heals, and even then he still managed to burn me to a crisp. With just a little HP left, we could scrape by though. Dart brand has been acquired, so now we can get to the really fun part of this run. On the sandy beach outside, we could take a ride with this small boat captain, sailing us from the very right far side of the map to the very left. This is the fort beyond the mire, and while there are no bosses here we can reach, there is a new weapon. Under a ladder is this wall that isn't really a wall at all. Jump up here with a torch out and we can collect the Stardust Spire. My original idea to make this spear run interesting was to use triple elements. Holy damage from pages, fire from the charm, and lightning from this unique spear here. I honestly had no idea spears were already so insane with just a single attack. And now we have that, but also 3 different elements hitting every single time. Can't say I'm not excited to give this a go. We're able to get the blue spear up to level 2 using frozen dolls. Next, I say we show the red halls a visit. Remember how I brought up spears not having a decent vertical attack? Well, that sure came back to bite me up against the Tree of Men. This boss is interesting, to say the least. Second attempt, I was way more patient and able to remove all the men in just a few moments. Managed to get up in the top left corner for second phase, and now you're in business. Repeatedly jump over the pesky melees to poke his head with lightning. The metal monster really did not want to leave this mortal realm, sitting on just a sliver of health that would not go away. Nothing a classic 20-foot drop can't fix. The Trickster's Band can be a nice upgrade for any run like this with extra dex. Very easy to get, although I don't think I'm gonna need it right now. Damage really isn't a problem I'm having at all. Underneath, we can collect the Seller Key, then talk to Minty. She can sell us 3 frozen lockets that get our spear up to level 4. Not cheap by any means, but easy enough. And you know what? Let's hop over into Mal's floating castle. I'm pretty sure one of the mimics here drops a frozen reliquary. No, it wasn't this one. Not that one either. And not even this one? Oh, here it is, inside a mimic closer to the top. Before we use that upgrade, let's at least give Mal a shot. Of course, she still managed to get in a lick or two here and there. Hardly matters though, because this weapon is absolutely deleting her. It would seem that 3 elements all hitting 2 times really makes a difference. You do get plenty of opportunities to use this move since she doesn't fly, moves very slowly, and even summoning magic takes a few seconds. One of the easier times with Mal that I've had. Throw that Relinquery into the spear and voila, a level 5 weapon. Nicely done if I do say so myself. The disemboweled Husk was particularly Fire Rain happy today, but also he's pretty easy to take down with both Fire and Holy. Add in both, and it's a glorious battle to behold. The spear seemed to very easily connect with him as well, since even when staggered, he doesn't really move back at all. Another really challenging boss evaporated before our very eyes. The Stench Most Foul is kinda interesting. He flies upwards a lot, making heavy attacks not really an option, but then sometimes he flies down below in perfect range for them. Him also being weaker to Fire and Holy, we're gonna have a hard time finding an opponent resistant to our damage at all. We're kind of getting golden wine levels of damage out of this blue pokey stick. Had no idea element mixing like this could be so devastating. I did swap out here for the all-powerful mossy ring. Then after grabbing the redshift brand, it's time to get to work. Bloodless Prince has that massive HP bar as always, although you would have a hard time knowing that by the beatdown I gave him. Just keep weaving in and out underneath his legs. Double stab any chance you get, and the show's over, folks. They don't call me the holy poker of shockingly effective fire for nothing, although the title doesn't really fit on a shirt very well, that's kinda too bad. No new merchandise to shamelessly plug, I guess. It is actually possible to heavy attack the Coveted. You need to wait until the axe is put on the ground and then bait the ghosts to shoot a different direction. Works kind of half good about half the time, so really you can rely on jumping stabs if you want to. Kind of a long battle either way if you ask me. I think the real question we should be asking is why can you burn and electrify an inanimate object? Does an item gain some sort of human characteristic when it's been possessed? Does that mean killing a ghost is like killing a lich? Just need to find the phylactery and you're a ghostbuster for sure? A bit of food for thought, I guess. Which was by far the hardest boss with this weapon type. Our really busted damage only comes from the heavy attack, which cannot be used when she's up there floating above the ground. You either greedily jump at her or wait for the opportune moment. Neither strategy seemed that amazing. Might be better to just stick with a different weapon type for this gal. Well, unless you're doing a spear only challenge, then good luck to you, mate. Karstjaw was Karstjaw, a large and very dark cloaked figure who more or less just stands there, menacingly. Be a little too aggressive to make sure he smacks you around a few times. Now that you've been properly humbled, spam that damage until he's trembling in a corner, begging for mercy. Hard to miss this big guy. You didn't even get to do his stab down combo, and overall I think I can live with that performance. Only a few bosses left. Right about now, we're throwing most of our points into magic. This lightning spear scales with dex and magic, so with our dex already really high, we need to get the other half going. The only side boss left is our good friend Ronan Cran. Do I even need to go over how this went? He buffed, I spammed the heavy button. Would love to tell you the fight was more complicated than that, but man, he got bulldozed over. Just enjoy the beautiful footage of his HP melting away before you. I have officially confirmed it to be one of the more beautiful sights in life. Unskinned is easy, right? Well, I mean, yeah, other than the pinballing they sent me through. Actually took me down, which a do-over wasn't that bad because I messed this up really bad. Second try fares a little better. Damage is still amazing and both opponents go down. When I attack, that is. Still, we do notice the flying mage problem. Anytime your enemy can get above you, things aren't going to be easy. Because of situations like this here, Unskinned was the only boss I genuinely hated when I first played this game. The intense AoEs from a massive brute knocking you into 3 different perfectly placed magic circles. Luckily, the mage is nothing without her beastie there to protect her. Forgotten King is forgotten for a reason. Not sure why, but the mage let me get in so many hits hovering down near the ground. I managed to quickly take him out first because I couldn't avoid hitting him. Things got pretty messy after that. Of course, the one time I get the hard boss out of the way, the other 2 won't play nicely. King goes down next and Mr. Knight follows soon after, taking only a few stabs to fry over half his HP. Good times had all around. Kraken Dragon Scourge, or however you say it, guards our way to the end. We mutually agreed to take hit for hit. I mean, come on, let's be honest, it was really the only fair thing I could do. Eat a little bit of magic, then retaliate. Take a large fork to the face, then poke away for a few seconds. Once lightning spikes showed up, I finally decided to start playing like a decent gamer. For the whole fight, I guess I was too astonished by the damage and had a hard time staying focused. Not every day you get to take down the gods themselves with a lightning rod on a stick. Now reaching the very end of our journey, we take on what lies below with 30 dex, 30 willpower, and 23 magic, which gave me just enough power to get absolutely backhanded by the Nameless God. Ah, come on, the one time I decide not to grab the shortcut checkpoint. My normal strategy of pressing the Y button as often as possible simply isn't working. Nameless is way too fast for such an attack and can always retaliate before my dodge makes it out of his way. The solution was kind of interesting, as simply spamming the X button instead did the trick. That's right, simple prods from a distance chipped away at him and gave me room to retreat before a massive sword cut me down. I have seen a lot better up against this suit of armor, but I've also seen a lot worse. Elements really do put in that work from start to finish, if you ask me. Several seconds later, we can finish things off with a double thrust, sending the Dark Lord into oblivion. Well, the question of the day was, can you beat Sodden Sanctuary using only a spear? Yes, in fact, you can do so very easily. For some reason, this weapon type gains a huge advantage that makes it great against 80% of bosses. That massive weakness of being kinda trash against flying enemies is tough to deal with though. Those pros far outweigh the cons in my book. Also, if you ever get a chance to try out triple elements, go for it. Seems really effective as you never have bad damage. Easily the most surprising weapon run I've done so far, proving that you never really know just how good something can be until you try it. If you want to see more runs like this in the future, do be sure to leave a like down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.